Hello, everybody. Welcome to your business reality with CV, which is more. And I want to first off thank our sponsors, Unstoppable Marketing Solutions, for keeping the lights on for me. And I want to remind you all that there's a couple things that are coming through with the World Women Conference and Awards that you do not want to miss. The first one is this Friday. We have a financial event coming up completely free. So if you, anyone that wants to learn about different ways to keep your business running, this is like a great opportunity for you or someone that you know of to attend. Also, we have our first World Women Conference Vision Awards ceremony coming up on March 20th. However, we are going to have nominations up till this Friday. So if you want to nominate someone in your community, some women that are doing just exemplar, they are changing the world, they are making changes, whether it's leadership, health, sports, whatever. We have 18 categories, so you can definitely look up into there. And like I had mentioned, it ends this Friday, February 27th, and it's all over the world. You do not have to be just in the United States. You can be anywhere around the world to nominate somebody. It is free to nominate somebody, so you don't have to pay anything. And it's completely easy. Couple questions, answer, submit, and you are completely done. I know some of you guys have been asking me, well, Crystal, what do you do at World Women Conference and Awards? So this is the only nonprofit organization that I'm currently part of at the moment, just because it's very dear to my heart and I really enjoy it. I am the global marketing strategy leader, and I'm also the San Diego chapter leader as well. So I have two jobs in one. And so we basically are making a lot of events, and obviously due to the virtual world and doing a lot of virtual things as well. So do know that there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of connections, networking, and we talk about topics that may not be the easiest. We do talk about different topics such as domestic violence, sex trafficking, things that are really happening in our world that maybe not a lot of organizations or people want to be part of. But this is a time to make a difference. This is a time to make a change in your community. So if you are interested, let me know. And also, if you are just more intrigued about the whole organization itself, follow us in Facebook, LinkedIn. We also have an Instagram, World Women Conference and Awards as well. But that's that. And so let's go ahead and get started with our podcast. And today we have an incredible woman. Her name is Jan. And after working many years in high stress industry, Jan decided to transition into coaching to follow her passion. She has been coaching part-time for 25 years before taking it full-time career. So Jan, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for doing what you do. I mean, stress is every day in our lives, right? And so tell us a little bit of how can stress affect someone's life?
Well, first, let me say thank you for being here, because it really is an important topic, and it's a lot more serious than most people realize. It can affect every aspect of your life. So it can affect your personal life, your relationship with your family, with your children. It can affect and kind of trickle on down to the self-esteem of the children as well. If you're under a lot of stress because you're not giving them the quality time that they need, you don't want to listen to them. Can certainly affect your marriages, relationships with family or with, friends, parents, things like that. It can also affect your health. And we hear about things like that, but stress is a word that people use a lot, but I don't think they really pay any attention to what it really is all about. If you Google the word stress, you'll see 57 million hits. So obviously there's a lot of things out there having to do with stress, but it's like a shadow that follows you, because stress doesn't, if you're leaving the office, stress doesn't just stay there. It follows you home. If you have stress at home, it follows you to work. So it affects really your whole life. But as far as the physical, it can affect your heart and create heart damage. It can affect your sleep, certainly affect your emotions, so that you may have some emotional outbursts that you normally wouldn't have had. And I can share a story with you, about that later on if you want. It can also affect your teeth, oddly enough, and your immune system. And during COVID, I mean, how important is that to make sure that your immune system is as strong as it can be? One of the other things, and a lot of your listeners may not be aware of this, is it also can affect your aging. So you prematurely age faster from
Mm.
stress. So if you're looking for the fountain of youth, reduce your stress. That's going to be the first big step.
I gotta say that thanks to 2020 and COVID, I got my first gray hair.
Yeah, well, when you get them in your eyebrows, that's when you really start paying attention to it. I mean, I'm 105. I look pretty good, I think. No, I'm not. I'm not really. I'm not. But I will be 70 next month. So, I've been around the block a day or two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I
Yeah.
think you said something very important that was like key to me was, a lot of people say, oh, when you're at work and nothing else. You don't think about anything else and vice versa, right? Or like there's marriages or people that I've met said, oh, yeah, when you walk in the door into the house, you do not bring your stress from work. But I think as an entrepreneur, and you might actually understand this, it's hard for us as entrepreneurs to say, okay, let me just leave the work stuff behind and nothing else. I personally, between you and me, I had to make some adjustments into my life in order to help reduce the stress. And one of the things was I was working 7 days out of the week, right?
Mhm.
COVID hit, all that great stuff. So I was working mad hours, trying to survive, you name it. And then in 2020, in December, everything hit me. Everything that can possibly go wrong. Like, how people got stuff throughout the year. I got the whole stuff throughout 1 month. So
Oh,
everything hit me all at once. And so what I had to do was redirect my attention, right? So, okay, so what I started to do was, okay, the weekends, I do not even look at my phone. I don't really go into social media at all. I'm present with my family. Like that's my time as
yeah.
well to just heal and like just relax. I actually had a massage this weekend. It was
Good for you.
fantastic.
Good for
Yes.
you.
And just doing more stuff for myself, right? Waking up extra early, maybe an hour or two just for myself to either work out or read or do something that I want to
Yeah.
do so
Yeah.
that I can start the day. I know that sometimes the days are not planned, things happened, right? And it's one of those things that it took me a while to understand that, okay, work will always be there no
Yeah.
matter what we do, right? Or even
Yeah.
like house stuff, like there's always going to be cleaning,
Yeah. Yeah.
depending, wherever you are in your life. And that was one of the ways that I helped reduce my stress. But I don't know, in your opinion, what else can I do? What other things can people do to just reduce that stress? Because I felt like I was losing hair. I was just not feeling well. I was
Yeah.
always having
Yeah.
headaches
Yeah.
and all that was affecting. And I know it was because of the stress. And now I'm aware. Before I
Yeah.
wasn't aware, Jan,
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Now I'm fully aware. Okay, these are
Yeah.
some of the stuff that are affecting me. I just need to rethink. Okay, this is really that important.
Well, and that's what I work with my clients a lot, is the awareness. That is a big topic, because it's like a shadow. It follows you everywhere. And you can stop it. You can do exactly what you're doing. Every single thing that you said is fabulous. And that's exactly what I work with my people to do, to get them to, one, be aware of it. One of the keys is you also need to know what is your personal stressor, because what stresses you out might not bother me a bit. but the stress is real to you. It's like fear. Everybody doesn't have the same fear, but it's real to the person that has it. And the same with the stress. So a lot of what you can do, your first step is you want to become aware. You need to slow down. Let your body do what it wants to do. Your body is your best friend. It's going to protect you. But while it's doing that, you have to slow down and quiet down long enough to listen to the messages that are coming across. So what you did is you realized that you had some issues going on, that it was bleeding into other parts of your life, that you were having physical side effects. And so you, by unplugging, I got to tell you, that's a fabulous thing to do.
Yeah.
You took charge of your life. And so you're getting to reach burnout is probably going to be far less than the majority of people, because you did what you needed to do. You listened to your own cues. What people can do is multi-purpose, because there's things that you can do for your body. One is do everything you can to get a really good night's sleep. The 4 and 5 hours that you hear people talk about, I can make it with that, really isn't what your body needs. You really need to try and get 7 or 8 hours sleep a night. And if you can't start with that, start with as much as you can and build up gradually, so that maybe the next week you add another 15 minutes. If you're at the stage of I get 5 hours, sleep a night, 7 hours is not going to be realistic for you, but 5 hours and 15 minutes might be your first goal. You also want to make sure that you have the physical needs taken care of, in that, like you said, you got the massage. Now, back when we had the shutdown about a year ago, I'm by myself. I have a parrot and she's really sweet, but I can't get hugs or anything, and it doesn't help. And so for 2 months, we were completely isolated. There was no human touch, and human beings were not made to not have touch. We wither if that happens. And I was starting to feel like I was losing it. So I called my best friend, who is a massage therapist. And I said, you may say no because of COVID. That's totally okay. But I've got to get a massage. And it really made a huge difference. It didn't take care of everything, but just the fact that I had physical contact with another human being. So during COVID, it's been especially difficult. Some of the other things that you can do are things like diet. You hear about that. But if you're eating good, healthy food, as opposed to your ice creams and alcohols and fried foods and things like that, that's going to help your body be able to sustain itself during any stresses that you may not be able to get rid of.
I have a question for you, because some people eat out of anxiety, right? And other feelings, obviously. So, and then typically, like when you have anxiety and stuff, you want to eat everything that's bad. So how can you convert that into something that's healthy? Like, how can people that are already doing that start off and switch their diet to something little by little?
Well, again, it's looking at your diet. It's okay to cheat once in a while. It's not going to hurt anybody. But if you have a cheeseburger every single day, eventually your veins are going to clog up and you're going to have a heart attack. But and that's kind of the way the stress is. It's so gradual. People don't realize how destructive it is. And so if you were doing something with the food, you'd want to look at, first off, what do you feel you could easily get rid of without causing any more stress to yourself, because now you want to get rid of something. So, is it ice cream? Is it maybe a donut? Are you getting a croissant or something like that? And so if you look at something that you could get rid of, and instead of just getting rid of that, what could you have in its place?
Yogurt.
What do you
From the ice cream.
What do you enjoy that's healthy that you could have in its place? So instead of feeling like I'm losing something, you're just replacing something. So that would be one thing that you could do. And again, just the gradual, look at what can I do this week? You don't have to change the world overnight, so here's my diet. Here's kind of where I fall off. I mean, for me, it's things like chips, you know, and tortilla chips and stuff. That's my weakness. I can do without bread. I can do without sweets, but the chips is kind of my thing. So I know what that is. So what could I replace that with?
Absolutely. And we got a couple fans here. Vivian Valenzuela said, I'm going to have to listen to this. Yes, you do, Vivian. Angie, she said, Crystal, I am your fan. She literally watches every single video, and I applaud you and thank you for that, Angie. She said, and today's interview is very interesting. I love it. Thank you. And then Maria Lena said, muy bien, which means very good in Spanish.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Amanda just thumbs up.
I don't know too many words, but I do know that one, and I can order tequila,
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for everybody watching us, but also thank you, Jen, because this is valuable information because, it comes to a point where we don't know sometimes there's a thin line, or we don't know that something's happening to us because we're living it. And sometimes it takes an outsider or a person outside to say, listen, this is some of these characteristics or some of the stuff you're doing needs to be changed in order to have, a longer life, right? And I remember one of our good friends, Hans, he, when I came into his life, he told me, Miss Crystal, you're still young, but you got to take care of yourself. And he said, so he started showing me about health and all that great stuff. And one of the things that I never, ever put together was, yes, I was taking my supplements and I was doing what I was supposed to, exercise, etc. I love to meditate, by the way. Every morning I do that. He added the stress component. He goes, you can do all this great stuff, but if you have a lot of stress in your life, you will have a very, very hard time to get your immune system up because all that, also affects your immune system. And so it really opened my eyes to, yes, I was doing everything I was supposed to, but this part that I wasn't changing was the stress.
Yeah.
And I'm typical person that's like, I can do it all, or I can handle it. Don't worry, I will figure it out.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I've learned that certain things I'm not supposed to be doing everything. There's people out in my life that that can totally just make a difference in what I'm doing and can support and help me in that area. And just knowing that we're not alone, right, Jan? It's like so important.
Right. Well, and we're not alone. I mean, if we were supposed to live in a cave all by ourselves, that's what we would do. But that's not the way humans are made. And you see, even in a disaster, look at what was just happening in Texas last week. All the people that step up and do whatever they can to help their neighbors, And it's the same way when you're dealing with something like stress. A lot of times you need that person on the outside to be able to help guide you to see, that things aren't quite as balanced as you thought they were,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have one more comment. Jesus said, replace donuts with peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There you go. There's one way of doing it for those that love donuts like myself. And so, Jan, what are some daily tips that you can something that's quick and easy that people can take with them today and that they can just start off in doing?
Okay. First, unplug. Unplug. You do not need social media or your device every moment of the day. You just don't. We're all like Pavlov, and we hear the little ding on the phone and we stop and we look, but that stops your peace. And that interrupts your flow of what you're doing, which is going to cause stress because you can't multitask. You can only do one thing at a time, regardless of what people say. So I would say to unplug as often as possible. And if you're doing a lot with email, check it twice a day. Check it in the morning, check it in the afternoon. You could even put a little message on there that I check my email X times. So people know they're not going to expect a response right away. Get as much sleep as possible. And before you get ready to go to sleep, think about not what didn't work for you that day. Think about what went well. And think about how you want your day to go the following day. And also be away from the TV, be away from all the electronics for about 30 minutes before you go to sleep, because you've got to let your mind just kind of slow down. Another thing you mentioned is meditation. So whether you meditate, whether you pray, whether you just go out for a walk in nature, there's a lot of little things like that you can do, but it's a settling so that you're bringing peace into your life and into your surroundings. Listen to music that is comforting for you. You know, music is a fabulous thing to have in the background, just kind of gently. And also eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. One of the really good things for stress is laughter and comedy. And, you know, with YouTube, you can go on and you can watch just any number of comedians. And I mean, and I just get silly. Don't be afraid to be childlike, not childish, but childlike. You know, I mean, if I'm out, I'm also in San Diego, and we have to look in the dictionary to see what the definition of rain is because we get it so rarely, you know. But if I'm out walking around and there's a puddle and I'm obviously, you know, dressed that's appropriate for that, I'm going to jump in the puddle because that's what I did when I was a kid. And what's wrong with that? You know, there's a flock of birds sitting by the lake and you run towards them to make them fly because you can. And because when you were a kid, you did that. Well, there's nothing wrong with taking yourself back and letting that little girl or that little boy inside of you that is still in you come out. And that'll give you a lot of peace and it's free. You know, these things don't cost anything. They don't cost anything. And don't be afraid to ask somebody if you have some questions or ask for help. I mean, I give free consultations that, you know, you can book through my website, but don't ever be afraid to talk to somebody because just like we mentioned, we're not living in caves. We're living as a community and we're all here for each other. And not one of us can do everything by ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's not the way it works.
And you can also find Jan in LinkedIn. She's the LinkedIn queen as well. And here is her information. And also, she is wonderful, and she's just so caring. The way she speaks, she's speaking right now, right here. That's the way she speaks in real life. And we have one more message from Jesus. He says, take 1 hour of your day to do something you like that will clear your mind, sleep more, learn something new. Do something you have never done before. A change is always good.
Yes. You're right, Jesus. Yes. And during that 1 hour, you can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Like he had previously said as well.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody who is watching today, and I want to thank Jan for being here. We have Yolanda, who's just loving the conversation, and let's take a breather. And in order to keep moving forward, we have to just keep, with our head very light and our hearts, and because that stress just pulls you down and makes you feel so heavy. We don't want to have that happiness coming in for 2021 in order to keep continuing. But I want to thank everybody for being here, especially Jan. Next week, we will have Dean Fox. He is an amazing coach himself. And so I'm looking forward to that conversation as well. And so, Jan, anything else you would like to mention before we head out?
if people want to log on to my website, I have a free resource that is an excellent way for people to find out how balanced they are in their lives right now. It's a little quiz that they can take, 21 questions. Nobody's going to know about it. It's not like it's going to show up on the website. But if you want to log into the website, www.yccbe.com, like your change can be easy. You can sign up for that free resource, and it'll be a real valuable way of you seeing what's going on in your world right now and whether you're in balance or out of balance in certain parts of your life.
Perfect. And lastly, there's strength in asking for help, and
Yes.
Jan is here to help and assist you in any way that she can. She's amazing. She's been doing this for over 20 years, so she's an expert for sure. And thank you, Jan. I appreciate you being here. You're incredible. I love your background, by the way. It just makes me feel like I'm on vacation. And God bless everybody. See you next week, and please take care and stay safe.